Hi everyone, today we're taking a look at the S.H Figuarts Kaiju number 9 from Kaiju number 8. As you may know, I'm a big fan of the Kaiju number 8 manga and anime. I'm still working on my Kaiju number 8 cosplay, so I'm excited to get this Kaiju number 9 figure, but I'm a little cautiously optimistic since some of the previous figures haven't been the best. This one looks like it'll be pretty good though. Here's a look at the packaging and my cat. It's very similar to the other Kaiju number 8 packaging, but this one's a bit more red, kind of a rust color. Just picture the figure on the front, picture on the sides, and some more pictures on the back. And there we can see his extra arms and kind of effect parts. Here he is out of the package. I think the sculpt looks great on this one. He's very tall and thin. There's a lot of texture going on all the skin. Not a ton of paint, but I do like the paint that's there. There's a nice texture all over the skin with all these little horizontal lines. I like those a lot. And he's got some little veiny bits on the chest and the arms here. The paint that is there is very clean. The spots on the chest and the arms. And then this red shading on the little spikes on the top. Then on the elbows. And the knees, toes, and fingers. As well as his mouth. Some of the faces do have eyes. We'll see those in the accessories. And then the spine's a different color. Otherwise, it's just this plain kind of light grayish plastic. So a wash could have improved it a little bit, but I do think it looks pretty good still. Like I said, the sculpt is really nice. He's really thin, but I think he looks very accurate to the anime. I like how gaunt his torso is. You can see all the ribs in the rib cage. The mushroom-shaped head looks great. I like that a lot. His legs are really thin, but I don't think he'll have a ton of issues standing. At least he hasn't so far standing up here. And the joints for the hips are as close to seamless as they could get. They did a really good job there. Like, they're really tight to the torso. A little cheeked up in the back. So yeah, aesthetically, I like it a lot so far. I think this one looks really cool. But the question is, will the articulation be good? On to articulation. This is where Ichikawa and Mina were lacking, so I'm really hoping this one has better articulation. At the neck, there's a ball peg going into a ball hinge down here. I really wish this was a ball peg. I don't love the ball hinges for the neck. And also mine seems to be stuck since it doesn't rotate currently. Then there's a ball at the lower neck. So slightly disappointed in the neck so far, but we'll see. Looking up, it does get great range. And down, he can bury his chin into the neck. And then with that neck ball, can look down even further. So good range there. Then there's a little bit of tilt. There would be more if the hinge could be swiveled around on mine, but it's stuck right now. And otherwise, you can kind of shift the head around how you would like. I just feel like you would get a little bit more natural movement out of a double ball peg there, but it's manageable. It's not a deal breaker for me. At the arms, there is a butterfly joint, and then the arm goes into this little socket with a ball peg that's on a hinge. So moving the arm up, it can go up that far, and then with the butterfly, just a little bit more. You are limited just a bit by the little spike on the top of the shoulder, but not too much. You can still get a T-pose, so I don't think there's going to be any issues there. Then with this butterfly joint coming forward, great range across the chest here, especially with these thin arms. So I'm really happy with that. Look at that range. And then not so much back at all, maybe just a little bit. And that butterfly joint doesn't look terrible either. It's very clean with minimal gapping, even on the back here. So very happy with that butterfly. There's a swivel at the bicep and then double jointed elbows, and since the arms are so thin, they can just fold up completely. So great range there. And a ball hinge at the wrist. Onto the torso. This is where Ichikawa was pretty rough, so I'm hoping this one will be okay, especially since he's so thin. At that diaphragm joint, he can lean back pretty far. Just a little bit of a gap, but that's all right. And then forward, also pretty far. And then with the waist, he can lean back even further. Love that. And forward. Pretty far overall. I'm pretty happy with that. Again, just a little bit of gapping here. You can't really avoid that though, especially with how thin it is. And then side to side movement, not really anything at the upper joint, just because the ribs kind of clash into his waist here. But there is quite a bit at the waist. A little bit of like flat spots here just because it's not rounded out. They maybe could have rounded out the bottom of this a little bit in there, but that could have also limited it a bit more. So that doesn't bother me to have the bit of gapping, and you can kind of pose that away. And then a bunch of rotation at both those joints. So yeah, I'm really happy with this torso articulation. Oh, my upper joint is a little stuck now. Oh, geez. Just have to tuck him back in on the back here. So be careful if you rotate him too far, because then bits like this can start clashing against each other. You'll have to tuck them back in. Okay. Now, for the hips, the seams on these look very clean, so I would think they wouldn't have particularly good range, but there is a drop down. And then with that, you can basically do the full split. It's not quite, but almost there. And not much kibble hanging down in the center either. So for how seamless they tuck up in there, some really good range. I usually don't love a drop down hip because it can get a little bit loose, but I mean, for this figure though, I think the trade-off is worth it because it looks really nice in a neutral pose. There is a swivel on that joint. Not the most range because it's kind of clashing against the tight space it's in, but still pretty good. Kicking forward, let's see, without the drop down, about that much, and then with the drop down, very good range there. Then he can kick back only a little bit because he's got the sculpted butt cheeks. Double jointed knees. They get very good range because he's so thin, and here we can see just how exaggerated the proportions are. Generally, your thigh to knee is going to be about the same length as your knee to foot because your femur's really long. But in Kaiju number 8, the characters have very long legs, especially in the anime. So then down at the feet, these will go back this much, forward, not quite as much. There is an ankle rocker and a toe hinge. Toe hinge isn't the tightest, but I've had looser toe hinges, so I think that'll be okay. It does have a bit of a scuff, I'm noticing at the foot here, but it kind of blends in with the dingy look, so I think that's alright. So I'm very happy with the articulation on this one. Pleasantly surprised, especially with how thin this torso is. Then for accessories, he has some extra arms, so we'll go ahead and show the range on those as well. These little spiky bits on the back can be removed. Just pull those off. And then you can pop the arms in there. And those are also attached the same way with a little ball peg in the joint. And those look good. Yeah, no real limitations on the back here. I mean, other than bumping into each other or the head or anything. But yeah, I think these will work out really nicely. You should be able to get them positioned pretty much however. So I like those. Those are cool. Then, other than this neutral face that comes on him in the package, he'll also come with one with eyes, with the mouth open, where he's yelling with the tongue out. One with eyes with the mouth open just a little bit, and then one with no eyes and the mouth open. I like this one with the tongue out a lot. This one's very silly. They're all good though, and the teeth are painted on there cleanly, and the tiny little beady eyes look nice. Then for hands, other than the fist hands that come on in the package, he'll come with 2 pairs of open hands, pointing hands, and the effect part hands, where he's shooting energy out of his fingers. And these look really nice. They're nice translucent, kind of orangish, pinkish. They have a nice sculpt with the little bubbles on them. I like those a lot. I do kind of wish he came with just a single little energy effect part just for one finger, but I think these are pretty good as well. And finally, he comes with an extra faceplate for Kaiju number 8 that has the energy coming out of the eyes. The little energy trails are slightly metallic. They look pretty nice. I think maybe I would have preferred if they were like a translucent plastic, but this plastic allows them to be a little bit more flexible, where I think a translucent one would be brittle. So this still looks pretty cool. It's not my favorite of the DLC Kaiju number 8 faces. I think this is still my favorite of those. I don't remember which one this faceplate came with, but it's pretty good. For size and comparisons, Kaiju number 9 is standing at about 7¼ inches tall. Here he is with all the other Kaiju number 8 figures that have come out so far. Kaiju number 8, Mina, and Ichikawa. I think he's appropriately scaled. He's a little bit taller than Kaiju number 8 and kind of towers over the other two. So I like it. I think they look pretty good together. Porchy's come to weigh in. Why do you like this? You come in here. You knock everybody down. And then you bite me? I can't believe you've done this. And for a couple domestic figures, here he is with the NECA Last Ronin Leonardo and Marvel Legends X-Men 97 Nightcrawler. So overall, I really like this figure. I think it exceeded my expectations. The articulation's really good, and my only real complaint is the hinge in the neck rather than a double ball peg. This is definitely an improvement over Ichikawa and Mina. Hopefully when Kikoru comes out, they have improved some of the articulation in the torso, but it's hard to tell. We'll see. So if you like Kaiju number 8, I recommend this one for sure. This one's at least on par with the Kaiju number 8 figure, and I might like it a little bit more just because I had some aesthetic criticisms about the Kaiju number 8 figure, mainly due to my preference of the manga design over the anime, and because I've kind of obsessed over the way he looks and the proportions and things like that, just because I'm making a cosplay of it. But with Kaiju number 9, I'm a little bit more removed from that and can just appreciate the figure for what it is. So let me know in the comments if you'll be getting this figure, or if you have any of the other Kaiju number 8 figures. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.